Hello, my name is Robert Scala, and I was originally from New Jersey, where I grew up. And about 4 years ago, I moved to South Florida. I lived in Jupiter for most of the time, and I recently moved to Fort Lauderdale to change my life and to make some progress in it. Um, Originally, as I said, I came from New Jersey. I was actually born in New York, and in the 50s. I came out as a gay man in 1976 when I was 21, during the free and easy 70s, and had a relationship with another man for 7 years, from my early 20s until I was 30. But it wasn't a smooth, linear progression, in that I did not love him, and I was very open with him about that. And so we went from having a monogamous relationship to having three-ways, etc., until finally I decided that I wanted to find another partner, a male partner, which I tried unsuccessfully to do. Then I decided that I was going to try women, and so at age 28, I sought out some counseling for that, and that was going okay for a while, in that I did have a girlfriend and I did have a complete, i.e. romantic relationship with her. However, I realized that that really wasn't the issue. Having sex with a woman really wasn't the answer, and that there really was an emotional problem for me. So that was an amazing awareness, but to do anything about it was much more difficult. When I turned 31, I had the experience of dating a woman who was a born-again Christian, and I subsequently became a born-again Christian myself, and at that point decided that I would go through ex-gay therapy, which a lot of people are familiar with, to change my sexuality. And for the next 20 some odd years, on and off, I pursued that very diligently, very passionately. But as time went on, there became less and less of a payoff for it for me. About 2 years ago, I decided that enough was enough. My brain fell back in my head, and I decided that although there were very good intentions, it really wasn't going to happen. So 2 years ago, I decided to give up all of that fantasy and accept myself as a gay man. The problem is that 2 years ago, I was 55, and being gay at 55 can be a challenge. So when I moved to Fort Lauderdale recently, I reached out to Paul because I realized that I needed somebody to help me to increase my self-esteem, which was pretty low, and improve my relationship skills so that I could have better friendships with other men, specifically gay men. I also would love to be able to have another shot at finding a life partner in a monogamous relationship, which I know is pretty rare and the probabilities are pretty low, but I like to dream. I started coaching with Paul. I've been through 3 sessions with him, and I've learned a few things already in a very short period of time. Paul has been helping me with different tools that I can use in order to help myself in my life. I learned recently that there are 3 stages in a gay man's life. First, you go through the shame of finding out that you're gay, usually at an early age, especially for men. And there's really not a lot of help for you at that point, because obviously your parents are probably straight, and most of the people in your life are straight. And there's really no, at least when I was younger, really no portrayals of any gay role models or people to aspire to be like. So you deal with a lot of shame, and you deal with a lot of hiding, and you deal with a lot of covering up that shame in various ways. And then you get to stage 2, where you're really you're putting that stage of your life into high gear, the second stage, where you're really covering up and being, what I've learned from Paul, inauthentic, and trying to get a sense of yourself by pretending and by excelling in things that are really not you. You might be very bright. You might even be athletic. Well, it's not true of many gay men. You certainly will have a higher aesthetic in terms of design and color. And you use those things in order to get affirmations and feel better about yourself. But really what you're doing deep down, is you are covering over shame. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work. So what I've also learned from Paul is that there are tools that I can use. And so he has exposed me to CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. These are relatively new concepts, which are totally different than the talk therapy model where you go to the therapist every week and you talk about your problems ad infinitum. And of course, that's based on the Freudian and the Jungian and other psychologist models. The problem with all of that is it just doesn't work and your life doesn't change. So Paul is helping me to learn the tools that I need to help myself. And one of the other things I'm learning is that as a gay man progresses to the third stage in life, if he has the opportunity to do so, he gets to the stage where he starts to realize that the shame is really, you move beyond it. You're really not ashamed anymore of being gay. However, your patterns of covering over the shame, and you're really unconsciously doing that, remain. And the only way to get free of that in stage 3 is to realize that you have to live an authentic life. How do you live an authentic life? Big question. And what I've learned is to parse it down into a very short description is you have to find out what your passion is in life, whether it be gardening or whether it be whatever it is that you're passionate about. For me, it's acting. And you have to pursue your passion diligently. And when you pursue your passion, something interesting happens. You develop joy. I'm not talking about happiness, which comes and goes and is very dependent on circumstances, but really a deep inner contentment. That's what joy is. And when you do that, you start to have an authentic life, and you start to be affirmed for who you really are, and your life changes. I believe your relationships change, and the quality of your life goes way up. As far as my goals for the future and having sought out Paul's help, I realized my last session that I had really some false belief systems regarding the gay community, and really was very critical, feeling that other gay people were out to hurt me, they were all dysfunctional, they were all promiscuous, they were all full of you-know-what. And my response to getting in touch with that false belief system is I cried, really cried. And something lifted in me and really helped to transform me in a little way right then and there. And it's only getting better. My goals for the future would be to be in that third stage of a gay man's life where I am pursuing my passion, I am experiencing joy, and in so doing, I am achieving inner peace and contentment and just having a very, very full life. I'm also going to be a lot less dependent on the opinions of other people, less reactive to the way they speak to me, and questioning my responses to all those things is going to help me to change my life. And ultimately, the goal would be, as a 57-year-old single man, which sounds like a very terrible thing if you want to generalize, but really I see it as perhaps the last opportunity that I'll have to be in a position where I can find the right man for me on every level, and we can work on developing a genuine relationship that's based on self-esteem on the part of both of us, based on allowing the other person to be another person, to have their own interests, their own passions, their own joy, and be in a position where I can give of myself, where I can truly love the other person and want the best for them. And hopefully they can do the same for me. Ultimately, and the bottom line, if you will, to use a generic accounting term that's become so ubiquitous in our culture, the bottom line is each gay man each gay man can learn the tools that he needs in order to look at his inner life, realize the patterns that he has and how self-defeating they are, and learn the tools to turn all of that around so that they can have a full life, a happy life, a contented life, and really be a force for good, joy, and love in the world.